Hello, everyone. I'm Steven. Welcome to my info session on the Canada USA Math Camp that I just attended this summer. So I'll begin with a little bit of introduction of myself. So I have a passion in math. I really like math. And this year I participated in a couple of math contests.
I don't have a cup.
Could you please mute yourself, please? Sorry. So this year I participated in a couple of math contests. So I did very well in the AMC and AMY this year, which qualified me for USAMO. This is actually my second year to qualify into USAMO, and this year I actually did quite well in the USAMO, and I got a bronze medal in it. And for a Canadian contest, I got a gold award from a perfect score in COMC, which got me invited to the Canada IMO Winter Camp. And in it, I was also invited to the Canadian Math Olympiad and Asian Pacific Math Olympiad. And with my passion in math and my strong skills in math, I led some peers from Saskatchewan to participate in... could you please mute yourself? Thanks. So I led a team of peers from Saskatchewan. Could everyone please mute yourself? Okay, thanks. So I led a team of peers to participate in also other team math contests, and we received quite pretty good results in that as well. So in this year's Purple Comet math contest, we got honorable mention worldwide. And we also studied together in the Outlook Club that I started. So I also ran my own math contest. It used to be called the Young Math League, but this year I decided to rename it into the Prairie Math League. So it happens weekly. This will happen starting this weekend. It is 30 minutes every week, and you can choose any 30 minutes that you want during the weekend. I also have my own YouTube channel. So this information session will be recorded and be posted onto YouTube once it is finished. So if you want to rewind and anything that you didn't catch, you could go to YouTube and watch it again. Okay, so let's get started. So let's begin with the application process to the Canada USA Math Camp. So during the application process, there's three main things. So the first one is the qualifying quiz, which consists of 6 questions. And all of these 6 questions are pretty open-ended. So you usually have to spend a lot of time on each question and before reaching a conclusion. And usually the conclusion could be pretty nice, but other times the conclusion could be very ugly as well. And the second, so I'll talk about a qualifying quiz a little bit more in depth on the next slide. So the next part is the personal statement. So in the personal statement, is essentially introducing yourself to the admission officers of this math camp. It is also very important. Although I think the qualifying quiz is probably more important than the personal statement. So in the personal statement, be sure to include your passion for math, your achievements in math, and your mathematical journey. And on their website, they have a couple of questions which you can answer to. And you don't have to answer every question that they post on their website, but it's recommended that you do answer about half of them. And this personal statement doesn't have to be very long, usually around 1 page or 1.5 page, about 600 words and 1,000 words would be a recommended length. That's just from me, but I know there's also other people who might disagree with my thinking. Yeah. And then the last part is there'll be 2 recommendation letters from 2 different teachers. So one is a personal recommendation letter, and when you ask teacher to write a personal recommendation letter, so the teacher will write on what kind of work do you do in a school, what kind of leadership roles that you have, and it more so it basically talks about you as a person. And the other one is the academic recommendation. So the academic recommendation talks about your studies in math and your achievements in math and everything that you have worked in math. So you should definitely find a person that knows you well mathematically to write the academic recommendation letter. And so for the personal recommendation letter, you should find someone that personally knows you well and could really show your character. So now I'll talk more about the qualifying quiz. So this is a sample question in the 2021 Math Camp application. So this is problem 1 on the 2021 application. And you can see that so the first part of the first question is pretty simple, but then when you get to the third question is actually it is asking you to come up with a statement that that deduces things about these people. It's very open-ended, and there's not one correct answer. There's a lot of correct answers that are not isomorphic to each other. And for a qualifying quiz, when I applied in 2021, I was able to solve 5 of the 6 questions on the quiz. And they said on their website that you don't need to solve every question on the qualifying quiz, but you do have to spend a lot of time with their qualifying quiz. And unlike other math camp where they're the qualifying quiz or the admission test are the questions on there are pretty simple. The Canada USA math camp qualifying quiz will consume a lot of your time, and you really should spend a lot of time on the qualifying quiz if you do want to get in. So after the admission process, you'll usually receive the decision of the Canada USA Math Camp by May. And then after that, you do your registration and you'll be all set to go to Math Camp. So now I'll talk a little bit about the daily schedule at Math Camp. So from on weekdays, 7 to 9 a.m. Is breakfast time, and you don't have to get up at 7 to get breakfast. You can get up at 8, but it is recommended you get up earlier so that there's not a lineup at the breakfast. And after the breakfast, it is class time. So there will be 3 classes in the morning. Each lasts for an hour, so it runs from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, and 11 to 12. And the 4th class is in the afternoon, so it runs from 1 to 2. So that's the class time. I'll go into classes a little bit more in depth on the next slide. And at noontime, so 12 to 1, that is time for lunch. And it is also recommended that you go to lunch earlier so that you have enough time to go to class in the afternoon. If you go there too late, there's usually a pretty big lineup and you might late for the afternoon class. And after the 1 to 2 p.m. class, there's the TAO time. So it stands for time academic unscheduled. So during this time, each instructor for the classes will be in in their classroom, and there's usually assignments for each class. And during Tao time, you can go to the instructor and ask them for their homework. And you can work on the homework assignment during Tao time. And if you have any questions on the homework assignment, and they're able to help you at that time. So this is generally like office hour in math camp, but it happens every day. So after Tao time, it is the colloquium. So this is 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Usually a class lasts for about a week, or some shorter class might last for 2 or 3 days. But colloquium only lasts for 1 day, so the colloquium between days, let's say the colloquium on Tuesday has nothing to do with the colloquium on Wednesday. So each one of them is a 1 hour, 1 day, 1 day lesson that you don't. That's you don't really need to go to colloquium every day, but the colloquium are generally pretty fun. And after 5, it is supper time. So supper lasts pretty long. The dining hall is open until 8 p.m. So you can actually get a pretty late summer. And surprisingly, there's not a big lineup at supper. And from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, there's usually social activities or team competitions. So social activities include like board games such as chess, Go, or general board games such as Ticket to Ride or Seven Wonders. That's the couple of games that I played. And sometimes there's also team competitions. So every week there is a team problem solving happening on Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. And each team consists of 8 members, and you're given 8 questions. So everyone in the team will try to solve the questions together. And at 10 p.m., it is required that you go back to your dorm building and to check in. And after 10 o'clock, if you want to leave the dorm, then you'll need a staff member to accompany you. So this is the daily schedule for math camp. And this is for weekdays. On weekends, we have field trips, which I'll go into in the next few slides. So the classes, in each class block, there are 5 classes running simultaneously, and you can choose one that interests you to go to. So each class, so you can see on the schedule, this is the week 1 schedule for math camp. So for each class, there is assigned 1 to 4 chili peppers. The chili pepper indicates how fast the class is going. 1 chili pepper indicates that the class is going not so fast and everyone can follow along. And 4 chili class might indicate that the class is going pretty fast and you might have a tough time catching up. And if you do go to a 4 chili pepper class, then you should probably go to Tao time to catch up if you're unable to follow. But these chili peppers are not indicators of difficulty. So for example, 1 chili pepper class could be a pretty hard topic, but it doesn't go very far. However, a 4 chili pepper class could start very easy, but then in the end, it gets pretty hard. Yeah, so generally don't really go for all the 4 chili pepper classes. They're generally pretty difficult. Go for the classes that really interest you. And because there are 5 classes running at every block, there usually should be at least 1 class that interests you. So yeah, and as you can see, each one of these classes run for the entire week, and so at 4 p.m. to 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. block, there's these colloquium that only last for 1 day. And also you might see on Saturdays, there is the the schedule changes a little bit. So there's the academic advisor meetings happening at 2 o'clock to 3:30. So during this time, you'll be given the schedule, the classes for next week and the blurbs for next week. And based on these, the blurbs, you should make a choice on which classes that you're going to. And this choice is not fixed. So let's say if you choose the answer is Chi for first class, but then you felt that this class isn't really you're not really interested in this class, you could go to a different class on the next day, but you might be able to catch up with that class because you missed the first day. And you can ask the academic advisor any question about the classes during the week, and generally they're pretty helpful. And once they know you well, they can really give you some good recommendations on what classes that you can take. And from 3:45 to 5:15, there's these relays. So relays are very fun. Usually about 80% of the camper participate in the relay. So usually each team for relay is about 6 members. Some weeks that the team size are limited to 4 to 6 people, but other weeks is limited to 6 to 8 people. So during this relay time, there will usually be 30 questions in total, and there will be 2 questions unlocked each time. Once you finish one problem, you can hand the question to a staff member, and the staff member will tell you whether or not it is correct, and then the staff member will give you the next question. And whoever gets the most correct answers win. But there is also the biddings, where before you get a class, you can bid for the number of points that you get. So let's say you can bid for half a point, 1 point, 1.5 point, or 2 points. But on these bidding questions, if you get the answer wrong, then you'll lose that much point. So do be careful on those type of questions. So now I'll talk more about activities happening at Math Camp. So there's usually a lot of activities that's happening. So every day there will be people playing board games in the games lounge. So I have played chess, Bug House, Go, Ticket to Ride, and Seven Wonders at Math Camp. Those are the all. There's actually a lot more games that's happening every day, but I kind of stick to these ones. There's also the social deduction games. So that includes Secret Hitler and Werewolf, both Multi-Night Werewolf and One-Night Werewolf. And we also played Real Life Among Us one day. So sport-wise, every day there's we could play ping pong, basketball, and frisbee. I think I pretty much played ping pong every day. And on the fourth week weekend, we had a puzzle hunt. So puzzle hunt is also a very fun activity. I think it is probably my favorite non-physical activity at Math Camp. So puzzle hunt consists of many puzzles. And regular puzzles, you'll usually be given instructions to do the regular puzzles, but in a puzzle hunt, you're not given any instructions. So the first step is to figure out the instruction for a particular puzzle. And once you figure out the instruction, you could start solving it. But sometimes you might realize that the instruction that you figure out is probably not right. And that's the real fun part about puzzle hunt, is figure out what to do. And relay, I've already introduced that. And then there's field trips. So every weekend we'll have field trips. So on the first weekend, we went hiking and rock climbing. Uh, I chose a pretty hardcore hike. On the first week, we we went to the Appalachian Trail and we went for 9 hours and about 16 miles, which is very far and very tiring that day. And we also went rock climbing. And second week, we went to the beach in Acadia National Park. And on the third week, we went kayaking. We also went water rafting. And the fourth week, we had a puzzle hunt. And so that's the weekend in math camp. And there are no classes. There's no classes happening at math camp on weekends. So that's a little bit. So what are my takeaways from math camp? Jason, could you please mute yourself? Thanks. So first of all, I made a lot of new friends with similar interests. We discussed a lot of math together and we learned from each other. So in one of the analysis class that I took, one person had a really interesting idea of what if the sum of a sequence converges, but the sum of the power of the sequence doesn't converge? It is a pretty difficult question, and we actually came up with an example. For it, which the condition seems pretty impossible, but is actually possible. I also became more passionate about math. The classes are very flexible. The difficulty ranges from high school to university. Some of the classes are very easy, but some of the classes are pretty hard. So the highest level of math that I think I took was about finite fields. I think it's generally a third-year university class. And so over the 5 weeks, there are over 100 different classes available. So you can always choose a class that you're interested in. And I learned a lot of math at math camp. So I also improved improved social skills. So during the team problem solving, relay, and puzzle hunt, is all teamwork, and you really have to talk to your teammates about the questions that you're doing. And math camp is also an early experience of the university life. It also made me more independent. So actually, the classes are not mandatory, so you can choose not to go to any class at all, actually. But if you actually don't go to any class, that will be going to math camp will be pointless. So usually, if you feel like taking 4 classes every day is a little bit too demanding, then you could actually just only take 3 classes, and no one would judge you that, because all of the classes are actually pretty fast and pretty hard. I also broadened my horizon. There are many international students at math camp. There are a couple of people that I know are from Poland. I know one person from Brazil and one person from Puerto Rico. And so there are about 75% of people that are American, about 10% of the people that are Canadian, and the rest 15% are international. So yeah, that's my information session on the Canada USA Math Camp. And if you're interested, you can join my Prairie Math League. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yeah, thank you for coming. Do you guys have any questions? So Math Camp took place in Colby College, which was in Waterville, Maine. But this location is not fixed. It changes every year.